We are getting close to the end of this Clutter Free by Christmas series. And so I wanted to go ahead and jump into the last category, which is sentimental paper items. And these can be so tricky. So I'm going to show you some of my process that I've been using. Okay, I was actually just going to take a picture of this and post it in a video, but I picked this up and oh my goodness, it is so heavy. So this is my paper clutter that I'm getting rid of. This is a lot of sentimental stuff. Oh my gosh. And for most of my clutter, I keep track of how much I've gotten rid of, like how many bags or boxes. For example, this year I am up to 18 and it's November. But with paper, one bag or box is so much work and so much thinking that goes into it. And so a better way to measure that is to weigh it, because it feels like you seriously lost 20 pounds, even though it's not on your body. It is weighing on your mind. And so it's a huge relief to get rid of it. So weighing it just makes it fun and makes it sound like a lot more than just saying, oh, I got rid of a box of paper. And it just keeps me motivated anyway. There is definitely a reason that we don't start with that. And that's always the one people want to start with, because they're like, I don't know, because it's so much, or they just think they're not using it and it's just sitting there in boxes or something. I don't know, but maybe people just ask about it a lot because it's the hardest one. But definitely go through the easy stuff first, and then by the time you get to the sentimental stuff, it'll be so much better. So this includes photos, notes and cards, letters, memorabilia, old journals, old art or gifts. And I included tax info on this one too, because even though it's not sentimental, it is different than everyday paperwork kind of thing, and can be more difficult and take longer. So if you're fine with doing that earlier, then you can do that, but you can also save it until this part. So it's actually been sitting in my guest bedroom. So let me just show you the ways that I'm stressing myself out, and maybe you are too. I was like, oh, this is gonna be so nice. I'm gonna pull this stuff from storage and go through it one at a time, but now it just looks so big. It's what I see. So I'm gonna tuck it away a little more, and I might just leave one box sitting where I can see it as a reminder, but the rest, like, I don't need a reminder every single day, just when I have time and I'm getting around to it and wanting to focus on it. Anyway, so it was supposed to make it less intimidating, and instead I made it more intimidating. And this box, I mean, it just looks intimidating, but this box has like 2 things in it. So try to make things look less intimidating instead of more, so you'll actually go through it and do it. I've just been like, just tired of it, and tired of having it sitting in there. Actually, let me just carry this back in there and show you what I mean, because this has been driving me crazy. It used to be all cleared out, and now it's a jumbled mess. All of these boxes are paper clutter. It just sat here taunting me, whereas when I have it put away on the shelves, it doesn't bother me as much. So I think this is good enough for now, and I think putting all of this stuff away will help me be able to have a break from it and maybe be excited again once I am ready. Oh my gosh, look at this. This is so much stuff. I don't want to show it actually, because I'm scared it's going to show people's addresses, but actually I don't think it does. But it's just like such a relief to get rid of this. I want it finally out of my house. So I am just going to let it go, and it's okay. Man, this feels good. So I was thinking I was going to keep going through stuff and keep adding to that, but I think I've done enough. And once I'm ready, I can just start a new box and a new pile of stuff to get rid of. And in the meantime, gain my space back, and then I think that'll make me more ready to tackle it again by only taking one box out at a time. And I know this, or I thought I knew this. I thought it might still make it easier and better for me to go through it if I realized how much I was keeping and could see the pile and everything, but instead it just overwhelmed me. But you know, I did go through a lot of it because it was sitting out, but I've gone through enough. I keep saying that, but it didn't feel like enough for a while. But now I'm like, wow, after I picked that up, I'm like, yeah, that's good. I can always go back to it again later. But I'm just gonna focus on some other things for now and take a break, and a real break, not just a break while the stuff is still sitting there taunting me and annoying me every time I walk by. Or even my husband, I feel so bad. He'll try to come in here to get something from the closet and it's just so blocked. So this is part of the process and part of learning as you go. And even though it's been a long time, it still happens and I'm still learning. I wanted to go through this box, so I brought it outside so I'm not stuck inside trying to do this. But I've only gone through half of it, so I still need to go through some of these letters, and then that is going to be recycled. These coins I am going to use, and I have some coins in here that I'm going to see if anyone has a kid that wants to collect some coins from different countries. And yeah, this is stuff I'm getting rid of, and then this is trash. And in this journal I started writing down, I guess I already recycled some stuff. In this journal I wrote down the dates of some of my travels, because that was why I was keeping these big old pieces of paper to remember what dates we flew or went to a different country. And now I have it here, and I'm going to keep adding to it as I realize the dates of any country or big trips that I've been on, so I have it all in one place and can know. And so I'm really excited about that idea, and wish I kind of started it sooner instead of just keeping scraps of paper to remind me, and then I have to try to find the paper in a mess like this. So that's kind of crazy, but exciting. Christmas cards, I think, are a nice transition from everyday paper clutter to sentimental clutter. And same with kids, like all these papers that come home with kids from school and stuff. But mostly Christmas cards and birthday cards, because a lot of times those are just signed by people and they don't have a note with them. Or even you could go through, like I had wedding cards, graduation cards that I kept, even though it was just a signature. So in the moment, it was great and I loved receiving that, but I don't need to keep it with me for the rest of my life. So you can work on those in this category. And this category is the one that I would say I repeat the most often, in that I really have to be strategic about and set aside the time and focus on it, because it is a lot of also like mental work and it takes longer. So I can go through my clothing now like in a day, but it still takes the full month or more to go back through my sentimental items. I do pare down some every time I go through, but I also end up keeping a lot of the stuff and it still takes a long time because I'm reading through stuff. And sometimes I'll read through more than I did the last time I went through. So in previous rounds, maybe I am not reading an entire journal. I'm just checking to see if it's one I want to keep or not. And mostly I default to keeping it. But now I'm to the point where I could actually read through this journal and see if it's got anything I want to salvage from it or if I can let go of it. But this one is still a very slow process for me. But that's also because I wrote a lot of journals and letters, and because words of affirmation mean a lot to me, and because I love the thought, like I'm a writer, and so I love also the thought of using ideas from journals or stories from my life, or even passing on wisdom to but passing information on to like nieces and nephews of like, oh, you can think this is so important when you're young, and then it turns out it doesn't really matter, or it like the complete opposite happened or whatever. So that was kind of part of my hang up with those things, but I'm also getting over that because I realize no one is going to read these things because people don't have time. And so if I barely have time and kind of struggle through it, even though I love it and am kind of passionate about it, then why is anyone else going to care? So I figure if I narrow it down more and more and more, then by the time I pass away, the people who are left can read it and it's not so overwhelming, and it'll be the most interesting things. So stuff that's really funny or like fascinating stories or adventures that I've been on. So hopefully that helps you as you go through things. And here's the video that goes through all 6 categories for becoming clutter-free by Christmas, in case you missed them.